Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Na'udzu billahi min syururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fahuwal muhtadi wa may yudlil falan tajida lahu waliyyan mursyida. Allahumma shalli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barik wa sallim. Amma ba'du. Praise to Allah, the Lord of this world, and also greetings and salawat and salam. May Allah always pour to our Prophet Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in this opportunity, I would like to thank and welcome you all to the second webinar on Global Islamic Calendar held by the Global Islamic Calendar community in Japan. And we are so grateful that Professor Tono Saksono has joined us today. So the agenda of our webinar today will include, firstly, the opening speech by the chairman of the Global Islamic Calendar Community Japan, which is Mr. Muhammad Fris Taranto. And after the opening speech by our chairman, we will go to our main event, where we will listen to the lecture of Professor Tono Saksono, entitled with Understanding the Principles of the United Global Islamic Calendar. And after the main lecture, we will follow by the question and answer session, including later the closing statement by Professor Tono Saksono. And that closing statement will remark the finalizations of our webinar today. Therefore, now I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Fris Tananto, the chairman of Global Islamic Calendar Community Japan, to give the opening speech for this webinar.
Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Lord of the worlds. Salawat and salam may always be poured out to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has brought the message of Islam that is rahmatan lil alamin. First of all, I would like to thank to Professor Tono Saksono of Islamic Science Research Institute for accepting our invitation to share his distinguished knowledge in the global Islamic calendar. I would like to thank also to all participants who take the time to attend today's lecture. The global Islamic calendar was agreed upon at the International Hijri Calendar Unity Congress in Istanbul, Turkey, 2016, by adhering to the principle of one day, one date for the whole world. This principle was approved by the majority of scholars, astronomers, or Jumhur Ulama, and delegates, namely 80 out of 127 participants of the Congress who had voting rights attended from 50 countries around the world. Accordingly, a community that adheres to the principles of global Islamic calendars has been established with the name Global Islamic Calendar Community Japan, or GICC Japan. This community aims to socialize the global Islamic calendar in the context of unifying Islamic holidays in Japan. This community is open to all Muslims across organizations, across school of thoughts, across the diaspora, and across nationalities, with a willingness to voluntarily adhere to and participate in applying the principle of the global Islamic calendar. This community will regularly hold capacity building, webinars, and socialization to the Muslim community in Japan in various languages to make it easier for various communities or diaspora to understand. Hopefully, with the global Islamic calendar, it can be useful to unify the celebration of Islamic holidays, simplify the planning of work, and live for and leave schedules for migrant workers, as well as the schedule of activities of the Muslim community, as well as the state representative in Japan. Finally, if there are differences in the determination of Islamic holidays, then we invite all of us to respect and tolerate each other. As a Muslim community that is mature and characterized by Wasatiyat Islam as stated in the 2018 Bogor message formulated at the high-level consultation of world Muslim scholars on Wasatiyat Islam in Bogor, Indonesia in 2018. However, it would be wonderful if we could unite in celebrating Islamic holidays because Muslims are one ummah or one people. As stated in Quran Surah Al-Anbiya verses 92 and Quran Surah Al-Mu'minun verses 62. By utilizing the global Islamic calendar whose principles have been agreed upon the majority of world scholars and astronomers in Istanbul 2016. This global Islamic calendar method is the only way to unify the Hijri calendar, where almost 14 centuries of Islamic civilization have not yet had one calendar for the whole world. May Allah guide us. May Allah guide us all with the hope of His blessing. Hopefully, this endeavor can be contribute to Islamic civilization, especially on the earth of the rising sun. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Tokyo, 3rd July 2022 or 4th Zulhijjah 1443 Hijriah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Muhammad Fristanto, the chairman of Global Islamic Calendar in Japan, Islamic Calendar Community in Japan. And now, as we enter the main event of our webinar, we will hear the lecture by Professor Tono Saksono. Will deliver the main lecture titled Understanding the Principle of the Unified Global Islamic Calendar. And as a short profile, Professor Tono is the co-author of a book entitled Premature Down. He previously held associate professor position in University Tun Hussein, Malaysia, and also professor position in Hamka University, Indonesia, and at Islamic Science Research Network. Now he is actively a reputable senior independent researcher for Islamic science. And for his academic background, he is graduated from University of Gadjah Mada, Indonesia, Ohio State University of United States of America, and also graduated from, as for his final academic degree, PhD, he was graduated from University College London, United Kingdom. So please welcome Professor Tono Saksono. Let's hear his lecture.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Dear GICC leaders and distinguished participants, thank you for this honor granted to me as a resources for this discussion on the unification of the World Islamic Calendar. The theme is very important, especially in the face that the fact that Muslim in the world now experiencing division in determining one of the very great holidays, Eid al-Adha, the next 1 or 2 weeks. If we look back, this division is very, even very concerning, very, what you call it, very misery for us, actually. Because after more than 1400 years, Muslims are still in disagreement and do not yet have a single Islamic calendar. This is really ridiculous. In fact, in 2016, Muslim scholars and astronomers representing 80 out of 127 countries in the world actually have agreed to adopt a unifying global Islamic calendar at the Hijri Calendar Unity Congress in Istanbul, Turkey. However, Muslim and authorities in countries around the world still need socialization, dissemination, and technical explanation of the condition for the appearance of the new moon, which are the condition for the entry of the Islamic month that we agreed on. Dear distinguished participants, I am not an expert on Sharia law. Okay, so my discussion is going to be on the academic side from science and technology perspectives. Please, all of you, conclude for yourself the Sharia aspect. Let's begin our discussion. Let me just share my PowerPoint presentation. Have you seen my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Thank you very much. My presentation entitled Understanding the Principles of the Unified Global Islamic Calendar. I'm Tono Saksono from the Islamic Science Research Institute in Jakarta, Indonesia. The Global Islamic Calendar has a mission to unify the Muslim calendar so that Muslims will start an Islamic month on the same day and the same date globally. Local criteria developed by Mabims, Al-Qura University, etc., have the potential to divide Muslims into 2 or more zones. That means commemorating Muslim holidays in different days and dates. Mabim's criteria 3.6.4 has proven to be a blunder in the determination of Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr, and Eid al-Adha 1443 Hijri. Even worse, the local criteria are normally neglecting the good governance principles due to the lack of independencies of the involved parties. In the case of Indonesia, for example, an authority, which is a regulator, at the same time takes the role of an operator and even a judge in resolving any dispute in the society. That's a problem. And it is a very serious violation of academic and public ethics. Civil society does not have a passion, in the case of Indonesia, of course, does not have a passion to understand the underlying science and controlling and uplift this basic principle of good governance. On top of that, the expanding number of Muslims in Indonesia, for example, considers obedience to Ulil Amri is the same as being obedient to the apostle and even Allah. Correcting haphazard rulers' policy are forbidden because of a misunderstanding of Sharia instruction. logical reasoning should be kept away from religious practice, even though Prophet Ibrahim used his intelligence even to comprehend the basic Tawhid. He saw the moon and he said, "Oh, this is my God." But when the moon was obstructed by clouds and the moon set, for example, then he said, "I don't want my God is obstructed by the haze and by the cloud." He saw the sun, which is brighter and bigger, and then he said, "Oh, this is my God because it is brighter and bigger." But when the sun set, he said, "I don't want my God set. I want my God is always looks after me all the time." In short, this group of Muslims, they are anti-science, even though they are not. They cannot escape actually from science and technology. With these all circumstances, a ruler is free to change Sharia provision uncontrollably. I happen to receive a copy of Ru'yatul Hilal Committee of Japan decision, which stipulates that Eid al-Adha 1443 Hijri falls on July 10, 222. And I was advised that this decision refers to Mabim's criteria, which is 6.4. Let's analyze it comprehensively and accurately. Okay, if this is the Earth, this one is the horizon. East is in here, West is in here, and this is what we call it, the celestial hemisphere. Celestial sphere. When the sun sets okay, according to Mabim's criteria, okay, this is the sun already set, and this is the moon. Then the requirement of Mabim's criteria is the altitude of the moon should be at least 3 degrees, and the elongation, which is actually the distance between the celestial distance between the sun and the moon, is 6.4 degrees. This criteria is local criteria. Okay. In the meantime, Global Islamic Calendar Istanbul actually requires even higher altitude, which is 5 degrees in the altitude and 8 degrees in the elongation. However, the only difference is that GICC Istanbul requires only that this happens anywhere in the world, anywhere in the globe, in our globe at that time. Why is it higher? Because it should guarantee that all regions of the globes have access to the new crescent. Okay. Okay. This is the crescent visibility map when sun sets on June 29, 2022, which is coincident with the 29th Zulhijjah 1443 Hijri. This the green one is actually we can see it in here. Green one is easily visible by naked eye, and then the cyan is the magenta. The magenta could be seen by naked eyes, while the blue one is need optical aid. And this one, the red and the no color, not possible. Not possible. The only thing is that we forget completely that when the sun sets on the 29th of June, in the eastern part of the globe is already 30th of June. That's a problem. So even though this one is not, the hilal is not visible in this area, but they are actually much larger than this area. This should be understood completely by Muslims. Let's check the detail. Okay. Understanding the moon phase formation and its visibility status, I have prepared some animation, computer animation. Two celestial phenomena are of primary importance. First one, the moon phases are solely formed when the lunar is orbiting the Earth. So this is independent, completely independent. Then from the second motion, which is when Earth is rotating along its axis, which causes the moon phase visible or invisible. 8 key positions of new moon moon phases are new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, and waning crescent. Let's see this. Okay, this is the sun, and the moon is in here. The Earth is in here. This part of the sun is lit by the sun. This part of the Earth and this part of the moon is lit by the sun. That's why this one is brighter than this one. Okay. In this position, we call it new moon because the sun, the moon, and the Earth are in the same meridian. When they are located in one line, then it's lunar eclipse. Sun eclipse. But in this meridian, if they are located in the same meridian, we call it new moon, the conjunction. So this is the first important moon phase. The second one is in here. We call it waxing crescent. And the third one is first quarter. The appearance of the illuminated moon is like this. Okay, when it's waxing crescent, it looks like this. Okay, so from day 1 up to day 6, we call it all waxing crescent. Only on the 7th day, we call it first quarter. Okay, that's why from day 1 up to day 6, for example, we don't care as to whether the lit moon is the illuminated moon is, say for example in this position, this illuminated moon is during the daytime or nighttime, we call it all waxing crescent. Okay, this is the first quarter, and then this is, we call it the waxing gibbous, full moon, and then waning gibbous, third quarter, waning gibbous, and back to new moon. So there are 8 key positions in the moon phases, of the moon phases. Excuse me. The second phenomena are of the 2 important motion is when Earth is rotating along its axis, which causes the moon phases visible or invisible. These two celestial phenomena are independent at all. Now we can see animation of the moon, or when of the moon when it is orbiting the Earth. Okay, this is the sun again, and the moon, and this is the appearance of moon illuminated by the sun. In this position, this is the conjunction when the moon, the sun, the moon, and the Earth are in the same meridian. So there is no part of the moon is lit by the sun. Everything is black, invisible. Then this moon, our assumption is the Earth stops rotating. Okay, we split the two motions independently because they are independent motions. Okay, now the moon is moving, orbiting the Earth. When it's in the position, then you can see this part of the moon is lit by the sun. So the appearance is like this. And this one is bigger and bigger, getting bigger and bigger when the moon is orbiting the Earth. Okay. Orbiting the Earth. Okay. This is the first quarter. And then waxing gibbous, full moon, day 14 and 15, full moon. And then waning gibbous, day 21 or 20 or 22, third quarter moon. And we are, the lit part of the moon is getting smaller and smaller, and it becomes back to the position that the conjunction where all the moon is all black, dead moon. Let's see the greatness of Allah ayahs. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafil layli wan nahar la ayatil lil albab. Verily, in the creation of the heaven and the earth and the alternation between the night and the day, there are the greatness sign of omnipotent power of Allah for those who understand, for those who have knowledge, Okay, when the moon is orbiting like this, this brown man, he never sees the lit part of the lit part of the moon, because when it's in here, the moon, the lit part of the moon, the illuminated moon is far weaker than the intensity. The intensity of the sun is much brighter than this one. That's why this man cannot see anything in here. On the other hand, when it is in here, for example, when it's in here, the lit part of the moon is blocked by the earth. So this man, for all the time, all the months, along the month and along the year, he never sees any part of the moon which is lit by the sun. On the other hand, however, this part of the earth is always exposed by the sun. That's why this part of the earth is far too hot for human being to live. That's a problem. Now, what happened to this green man? This green man only, let me just check the, turn back up to this position. This man only sees this lit part of the moon, of moon phase during the first quarter moon, up to third quarter moon. When the moon is in here, it is blocked by the sun, by the earth itself. So consequently, however, this part of the earth is always night in this part. But consequently, this part of the earth is far too cold for a human being to live. So basically, if this is in this situation, when the earth is not rotating, then the whole human beings and even creature will die eventually. That's a problem. That's the greatness of Allah ayah of this ayah. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafil layli wan nahari la ayatin lil albab. If the earth is not rotating, then everything is dead. No living creature on the earth. That's a problem. Okay, let's see the other animation. Animation when the earth is rotating, affecting the visibility and of the moon phase. Let's check this one. Okay, this one is midday. When the moon or the earth is rotating like this, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and say this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then this man should be able to see the moon, which is like this. The appearance is like this, waxing gibbous, because it rises in the east. Okay, it rises in the east. However, because this one is far too dim for I mean the intensity of sunlight is much higher than this, then this man cannot see also the moon phase. Okay, even though actually the moon has already risen in the east. Okay, then the earth is rotating further. This is about 14 o'clock in the afternoon. When it is sunset, then the man can see the moon, which is about say like 20 degrees offset of his overhead. The moon is in here. Okay, then of course he can see the sunset. I mean the moon. But all of a sudden, the moon pops up from the sky. Okay, and then it keeps moving now exactly overhead until about 2 o'clock in the morning. Then the moon sets. Okay, so this man further, it's about 2 o'clock. Now the moon is already set. Moon is already set. Okay, so this is, now imagine that how can we expect that in this position the man should be able to see the crescent, waxing crescent, which is much smaller than this, when he is not even able to see a waxing gibbous as big as this. So, you know, expecting people to see a crescent is ridiculous, really. It's unimaginable. even big waxing crescent, moon phase like this, you cannot see because it's the sun is just too strong. The intensity, sun's intensity is just too strong. So when in here, for example, now the moon is already set. The moon already set, and this man cannot see even however big the moon phase is, right? Because it's blocked by the sun, by the earth itself. So this is the situation when we have to understand completely that the structure of waxing crescent, how it is visible and it's invisible. Okay. Therefore, the crescent's growth is independent of its visibility status. The problem is there is growing misconception, which is actually provocation, in saying that the invisible waxing crescent is not Sharia-based pillar, Sharia-based crescent. This is ridiculous. This is another blunder. Let's analyze it accurately. Okay. Oh, sorry. I hit the wrong, what do you call it, wrong button, sorry. Now, how the unified global Islamic calendar stipulates the crescent altitude and elongation in order to start the new moon, new month in Islamic calendar. The altitude, minimum altitude is 5 degrees, and the elongation is minimum elongation is 8 degrees. But eligibility is when it occurs anywhere on the globe. Okay, it doesn't have to be present in Tokyo, in Jakarta, or in Mecca, or anywhere in the world. If this, if it fulfills this criteria, 5 degrees in altitude and 8 degrees in elongation, then it is valid for the new month to start. Okay, let's check. On the 29th of June 29 at 19, 15, 12 in Honolulu, the altitude of the moon is 11.4 degrees. So this is much larger than 5 degrees, the minimum criteria, right? And then the elongation is 11.9 degrees, which is much larger than 8 degrees of the minimum criteria of the elongation. The illumination, the illuminated part of the moon is 1.1%. That's why, according to global Islamic calendar, Zulhijah falls is or coincident with June 30, 22, and Eid al-Adha falls on July 9, 22. This is the detail of the data. Illumination is 1.1%, elongation is 11.9 degrees, and the altitude is 11.4 degrees. Okay. However, there is a additional prerequisite. For example, during this when the new moon occurs, new moon is the conjunction occurs, it should happen before 0.0, before midnight in Greenwich. But here, for example, on the 29th June, the conjunction the new moon, occurred on at 3:52, which is it's already, I mean, it's past already the midnight, right? That's why there is an additional prerequisite for this condition. The conjunction should happen in the eastern part of the globe before Fajr. See, now we see this moon phase for Gisborne. Gisborne is I took it as the eastern part of in New Zealand. The conjunction happens at 14:52, which is actually before midnight of 30th before Fajr on the 30th of June, right? So this one validates that Zulhijjah, first of Zulhijjah falls on the 30th of June 22, and Eid al-Adha falls on 9th of July 2020. Okay. So according to global Islamic calendar criteria, then this one is valid. One Zulhijjah is June 30th, and Eid al-Adha is falls on July 9th. Confirmed. Now we can see the Christian characteristics in Tokyo, Japan, Dakar, Senegal, Acapulco in Mexico. In Tokyo, on June 29, when the sun sets at 1848, the moon altitude is 3.1 degrees, which is actually larger than Mabim's criteria, which is on 3 degrees, right? However, the elongation is only 4.1 degrees, which is much smaller than 6.4 degrees criteria of Mabim's. That's why what do you call it? The Christian Christian visibility in Japan, which always refers to Mabim's criteria. They said this criteria is not fulfilled. The elongation is not fulfilled. That's why 30th of June is still 30th of Zulhijjah, and the first of Zulhijjah falls on July 1st, and Eid al-Adha falls on July 10th. Okay, let's check carefully. Okay, Ru'yatul Hilal Committee of Japan, which is using Mabim's criteria, stipulates that 1 July is 1 Zulhijjah. That's why Eid al-Adha is falls on 10th of July. Let's check this one. This one is in, oh, okay, this is in Tokyo. We have already showed this, okay? Now check when the moon is already, okay, now the moon is already set. As I told you, as I have shown you the animation, although this one is already set, but the crescent is actually getting bigger and bigger all the time. Every second, every minute, every hour, the crescent is bigger and bigger. Okay, the crescent keeps growing, although it is invisible, although it's already set. By 3 o'clock in the morning, by 3 o'clock in the morning, let me just check this one. Okay. By 3 o'clock in the morning, 4:43 in the morning, 4:43 in the morning in Tokyo, the altitude of the moon is -3 degrees. The sun already set at that time, already risen at that time. The thickness of the lit part of the moon is only 0.6%. By the time 4:43 in Japan, in Dakar, which is 10 degrees, which is 10 degrees, 9 degrees behind Tokyo, in Dakar, in Senegal, it is still June 29 for 1943. At 1943, which is sunset, the crescent thickness is only 0.5%, although the altitude is 6.7 degrees. So according to Mabim's criteria, yes, June 30th is Zulhijah in Senegal. Eid al-Adha is July 9, 2022. But in Tokyo, although this one is larger than this, you are not allowed to celebrate celebrate Eid al-Adha on July 9. It is strange. It is peculiar. This one is a lot bigger actually than this. This is like 0.6%. This is 0.5%. Of course, this is invisible because it's under the horizon, below the horizon, but it's bigger. So altitude is not actually the right parameter, a proper parameter in expressing that the whose moon phase is actually bigger than the other places. Now, if we go further, this is the detail. Okay, the detail you can see in here. For example, in Senegal, is the altitude of the moon is 6 degrees for 43 minutes. Elongation is 7 degrees 48 minutes, and the illumination in 0.5 degree percent. But in Tokyo, at the same time, by the time 1943 in sunset in on the June 29 in Senegal, in Dakar, in Tokyo is already 4:43, and the illumination of sun illumination, moon illumination is only this 0.6 degrees, 0.6%, although the altitude is -3 degrees. Okay, so this is strange. Let's see another spot, another case. By 10:14 on June 30, for example, the sun is already, the moon already risen. The altitude is 59 degrees, and the crescent thickness is 1.0%. At the same time, by the time 10:14 in Tokyo on June 30th, because Acapulco is 14 hours behind Tokyo, so in Acapulco is still June 29 at 2014, which is sunset. The moon altitude and moon thickness is only 0.8%, although the altitude is 9.9 degrees. So the people in Acapulco will be able to see the crescent, but this one is actually much thinner than this one in Tokyo. In the meantime, in Tokyo, of course, this is invisible because the intensity of the moon is much lower than the intensity of the sun. Okay, So this one is another strange one. With 1% thickness, you are not allowed to commemorate Zulhijjah. 10 Zulhijjah, on the 9th of July. But in here in Acapulco, even though the moon thickness, the crescent thickness is only 0.8%, you are able to allowed to commemorate Idul Adha on July 9. So this is strange. Another checkpoint. Okay, this is the data. Okay, you can see the you can see the details in the file I have already given. Okay, now we can see the rendering of the crescent, the crescent during the day of June 30th, from 5:30 up to 18:30, with the increment of 30 minutes. So I've prepared the animation. So this is the lit part of the moon, which is actually the crescent. On the June 30th, from 5:30 up to 18:30. So there are 26 images. You can do this. This is turning because it follows the position of the sun, right? As the light sources. Oh, this is turning. Oh, this is the sun. This is the crescent. How can you deny this is a crescent? Okay. Now let's check this further. Now characteristic crescent characteristic. We compare it when in Honolulu, Mecca, Saudi Arabia, Jakarta, Indonesia, Tokyo, Japan, Gisborne, New Zealand. We compare it when during the sunset in Honolulu. Okay, that's the most the westernmost point of the compared location. In Honolulu, when the sun sets on June 29, for example, the illumination is 1.5%. The elongation is 11 degrees 51 minutes, and the altitude is 11 degrees 24 minutes. Okay, this one. At the same time, sunsets in Honolulu. By the time sun sets in Honolulu, for example, in Tokyo, it is 14:15, but already June 30th. And the crescent, the thickness of the crescent is only 1.2%, which is larger than 1.1% in Honolulu. Sorry, in Jakarta, sorry. Honolulu only 1.1%. In Mecca, Saudi Arabia first, okay? In Mecca, we are going further to east, yeah, further to east. So we go by Mecca first. In Mecca, by the time sun sets in Honolulu, it's already 8:15. The illuminated crescent is already 1.4 degrees, which is larger than in Honolulu, which is only 1.1%, right? In Honolulu, it's 1.1%. In Mecca, it's already 1.4%. The problem is you cannot see the crescent because it's 8:15, which is, the sun is so very bright. The sunlight is very bright. Of course, you cannot see the moon, the crescent. But the crescent is there, and it's much bigger than in Honolulu. How can you deny that this is not crescent? Okay, then Jakarta. Jakarta, by the time sun sets in Honolulu on the 29th, in Jakarta is already June 30th at 12:15. And the sun is already 1.3%, larger than 1.1% in Honolulu, right? So how can you You say that, okay, in Honolulu is a crescent, but in Jakarta it's not crescent because you are not able to see the crescent. It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Of course, it's invisible, but it is crescent. It is crescent. Okay, in Tokyo, by the time sun sets on the June 29 in Honolulu, in Tokyo is already 14:15, but June 30th, the illuminated part of the moon is 1.2%, which is larger than in Honolulu. Of course, you cannot see this because it's 14 o'clock in the afternoon. You cannot see the crescent, but it's there. Crescent is there, bigger. Okay, and Gisborne in Honolulu. By the time sunset in Honolulu on the 29th, it's already 17:15, June 30th in Gisborne. The what to call it? The illuminated part of the moon is the same, but this is also the crescent. This is already crescent. Okay. Now we check Ayyamul Bid, the white days, when Muslims are voluntarily required to fast during the white days. Ya Aba Darid, idza sumta min ash-shahri thalatha ayyam, thalathata ayyam, fasum thalatha ashrata wa arba ashrata wa khamsa ashrata. So this is very precise. You are required to voluntarily fast on the 13, 14, and 15 every month. Let's check. In Honolulu, if Zulhijah falls on, Idul Adha falls on 9th of July, July 9th, then 13, 14, and 15 days falls on 12, 13, and 14 July. And if you take this one, the illuminated part of the moon at the time is 99.4%, 99.4%, and 96.1%. Take the average and you come up with this 98.3%. However, if the Zulhijjah falls on the 10th of July, then your Ayyamul Bid is 14, 15, and 16, which is the average is 95.2. So exactly, very accurate that Ayyamul Bid should fall on the 13, 14, and 15 of July. Oh, sorry, 12, 13, and 14 of July. So the thalatha ashrota, arba ashrota, khamsa ashrota should fall on 12, 13, or 14. If you take this one, then the average of the white days is only 95.2%. So this is exactly. Now check Mecca. Mecca also, if you take this one, you take this one, 12, 13, and 14. So the Idul Adha is on the 9th of July. Then you have come up with 98.7%. If you miss one, if you miss this one, and you take Idul Adha is on the 10th, then the average of white days illumination is only 97.2%. In Jakarta, also this, you compare 98.2, 98.7, and 97.8. In Tokyo, also like this. If your Idul Adha is on the 9th, then 98.6% the average. But if you take the Idul Adha is on the 10th, then 98.0, which is so exactly we can make sure that the Idul Adha should fall on the 9th of July, because everything white days is proven to be on the 12, 13, and 14 of July. Okay, this is, I'll just show you the what you call it, full moon during the white days of Tokyo, in Tokyo. This is 19 on the 7th, on the 12th, July 12th and July 13th, and this is July 14th on Tokyo, okay, in Tokyo. And in this, if you take 13, 14, and 15, this is the percentage of the full moon. Conclusion: Allah ayahs are scientifically accurate. Scientifically accurate. However, I'm not saying that Allah rules the whole universe using mathematics, physics, statistics, and all that. No, no, no. It's too naive. If you collect all the intelligence in the world, all the genius, including all the dead one, like Hubble, like Albert Einstein, you collect all this intelligence of this man, they are not even able to compare with Allah's knowledge. So I'm not saying that that what Allah rules the universe is using mathematics, using statistics, using physics. No, no, it's too small for Allah. If we collect all the intelligence, all the genius, including the dead, we are not even able to understand the tiniest part of Allah knowledge, because He is the omnipotent power of knowledge to rule the whole universe. Okay. A misconception in understanding that the Christian should be visible during the sunset locally has caused that we never have a unified Islamic calendar. Consequently, Muslims in Japan and in Asia have to perform all religious rituals about 12 hours behind their brothers and sisters in America and Europe. This is very strange, because we should perform our Fajr prayer actually 12 hours before our brothers and sisters in America. But all of a sudden, during the month of Zulhijah, we are behind 12 hours than theirs, than Muslim in America and in Europe. This is peculiar. This is strange. This is mistake. This is a blunder. Peculiarly, it only happens in the month when the Christian condition does not fulfill Mabim's criteria. It is the proof that the failure of Mabims in understanding the hadith about the crescent visibility. Muslims all over the world should soon apply the unified global Islamic calendar criteria to commemorate the Muslims' holidays on the same day and the same date. Okay, I've written also, for the sake of clarity, that I've written 4 books, as I think more than 1,700 pages, to when we are conducting research on the Fajr and on the twilight, morning twilight, and Fajr and evening twilight, and we have produced this book, Premature Dawn and the Twilight Pattern, and the Premature Dawn in Asia and Australia, Premature Dawn in Europe, and Premature Dawn in Asia. So this one also is quite interesting for discussion in the future, that to show that, we conclude that all over the world, our Fajr prayer is about 30 minutes too early. And our Isha prayer is about 30 minutes too late. So we have thousands of data collected from 5 continents. So this is also very interesting. In the meantime, I have written in 2014, so 6 years ago, Pseudo Sharia economy and Muslim civilization debt. It proves that if we don't have Islamic calendar, then all Muslims business are using a Gregorian calendar, which has 365 days for the accounting system. In the meantime, actually, we should use Hijri calendar, which has only 354 days for the accounting system. As the consequences of using Gregorian calendar, then the 11 days of the different we don't pay the 11 days of the difference between the Muslim Hijri calendar and the Gregorian calendar, and it has been accumulating for about 1400 years, maybe 1300 years, and it has been accumulated unimaginably, becomes about 10 trillion US dollar as a debt of Muslim civilizations, because we are short in paying the zakat, because we don't have Islamic calendars. I think I conclude this my presentation up to this point. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you
By the
very
way,
much.
should I stop sharing my file though?
Maybe you don't need, because maybe there are some questions from the audience. Then
okay.
Then maybe they will need to see again the slides for that to answer that questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So okay, thank you so much, Professor, for this beautiful and understandable, more deep understanding regarding the unified global Islamic calendar. And I am becoming even more sure that we should follow the global Islamic calendar for this, which are also able to be confirmed not only by the starting of the month, but also by the middle of the month, which is we can see how the full moon is much bigger if we follow the Islamic global calendar. It is confirmed both by the starting month and the middle of the month. Okay, now we enter the question and answer session. And so please, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand by pushing the button in the Zoom interface, or you can also write your questions on the chat box. So let's see, maybe some people already write their questions on the chat box. Okay, okay. So Professor, we have one question from the Falasifah Ani Y from the Jakarta, I think. So her question is, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is there any effect of the lunar movement to human's body? As I know, our Prophet Muhammad SAW also asked his ummah to do hijamah on 17, 19, or 21 of the lunar calendar. Thank you. Jazakallah khairan. So this is the question from Falasifah Ani, double Y, Ani Y.
Excuse me, I don't understand what hijamah means.
So, yeah, so hijamah, what I understood is about let some bloods from the body comes out.
Oh, I see.
Like maybe in Indonesian language, it's called bekam.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so the question is there, the lunar movement, is it affecting some parts of the human's body? So that we have this kind of sunnah.
Okay. Shall I answer it, or you have, I have to wait until? Okay.
No, you can. Yeah,
unfortunately, I don't have any knowledge on that type of issues. Okay, okay. This is something to do with blood circulations and all that. You know, it's something to do with health status of human body. So I'm so sorry that I don't have any what you call it knowledge in this area. So I cannot really, sorry, I cannot really answer this. But of course, you know, in general, the lunar position is always affecting even the what you call it, the wave is, you know, high during the full moon, right? The wave in the ocean is always larger during the full moon. So I believe there should be a effect on human body as well. Unfortunately, I don't have any background in health condition of human. You know, I don't have any background on this area. Sorry, I cannot answer. Okay.
But maybe this also could be suggest the interdisciplinary research between astronomy and medical science. Is it possible?
Yeah, I believe it's quite interesting. That's why, you know, I encourage actually my my research is actually in Islamic science. Is actually we are trying to stimulate, you know, to encourage Muslims to do research, because there are only 160 ayah in the Quran which is concerned with the Sharia, with the law. But there are 800s of ayah in the Quran explaining the what you call the secret of the nature. So I believe that one is very interesting topic for research. You know,
yes.
Unfortunately,
yes.
I don't have any energy, and I don't have background in that area. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think this is also very new questions, and this is very interesting. I think it's also worth for a Nobel Prize if we can found or discover the connection between medical science and astronomy.
Yes, of course.
Hopefully, we can do later, or if our audience have this kind of interesting, they have medical science background, they can also contact directly to Professor Tono to initiate this kind of research between medical science and astronomy. So thank you so much, Falasifah Ani Wai from Indonesia, to have these beautiful questions. And so the next question from Mr. Ihsan Nur. Baru, please unmute your mic and you can ask directly to Professor Tono.
Okay, thank you, Brother Fahmi, and thank you, Professor Tono Saksono. I think it's very interesting to talk about this because I have experienced some time to share how we make more understand about the hisab, about the Islamic calendar. I see that you use the software. So what's your comment? Which software is the highest validation?
What do you mean with highest validation?
I mean, I see you saw the calculation of the position of the moon or something.
Okay.
And how we find it? If we use the software,
yes.
What kind of software
Stellarium. We call it Stellarium. It's just open source software. Okay, so you can download it freely. It's free and it's available in public domain.
Yes. Thank you, Professor. I see that some software in the internet. So you mean that you recommend the Stellarium is the best one?
I would say yes, because it shows you, it provides you the whole constellation. You know, you can see especially because it gives you animation of the whole universe. That's the best one. I mean, of course, I am not using only that. Stellarium is not only the only software I'm using. I use I use also accurate times. I use it is also free. You can download it free from internet, and then also time and date. Time and date is also free. Everything is free. What I'm using is everything is free. So basically,
Yes.
the three softwares I use most: Stellarium, and then accurate times, and then the third one is time and date. So these are three softwares that I believe it's very reliable. They are very reliable.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you so much
Thank you, Brother
for
Fahmi.
the question, Brother Ihsan Nur from Banjarbaru, Malaysia, and also the explanation from Prof. Tono. So just to clarify again, to make a good note from this answer, that we have three reputable or reasonable software, legitimate software to use this kind of hisab method, which is Stellarium, accurate times, Stellarium, accurate times, and also time and date. Time and dates, yeah. Okay. Time and dates. Okay. So we have another question from Brother Afandi. You can ask the question directly by unmute your mic.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Tono, for the opportunity. I am Afandi from Tangerang, Indonesia. I have write the question in the chat. Yeah. So as we know that for international deadline, the Julian calendar, London is set as a reference, and somewhere in Pacific area, 180 degrees from London is set as a deadline. So now, if we are talking the global Islamic calendar, as the line of hilal visibility map is dynamic, and usually it's a curve, not a straight line. So how do we determine the deadline of Hijriah calendar? Thank you, Prof.
Yes. Yeah, the deadline of Hijriah calendar is moving all the time, from day to day. So that's I mean, from month to month. So so actually, it is dynamic instead of the Gregorian calendar, which has a fixed zero position, right? But I mean, it doesn't affect, you know, if you keep the say you keep the zero is in Mecca, for example, then everything is actually just translated. I mean, yeah, translated to the position where you cannot see the effect of the of present visibility, except that you just change the definition of the time, for example. But the crescent visibility doesn't affect. It will not affect the crescent visibility, because you are basically you are moving all the time, and the Earth is rotating all the time. I mean, continuously. The only thing is that you define the origin of the timing is different. If different, okay. So you know, it affects only the translation, but the crescent visibility is not affected.
Can we set Makkah as a Makkah sunset as a reference for the Hijriah deadline?
Yeah, but that one is also very very delicate, you know, because if you put it in Mecca, then east of Mecca will be Saturday, and west Mecca will be Friday. So it's very delicate, That's why, we always keep the 0 point of the zero timing is in the Greenwich, because 180 degrees behind Greenwich, 180 degrees behind Greenwich falls in the uninhabited area. So by the time change, the day change, for example, then it's not affecting people, because it's unpopulated area. There is no inhabitants in that area. But if you put it in Mecca, for example, then by the time the day change, then eastern of Mecca will be Sunday, but west of Mecca will still Saturday. It's delicate, It's difficult to what you call it, to comprehend, to understand the concept of this timing system. So it's good that you put the change of the time, change of day, change of date is in the area that is not populated. There is no population in that area.
I mean that the deadline is 180 from Mecca. It means that's the border of Alaska and the US. Maybe somewhere there, not in Mecca, but 180 degree from Mecca.
Yeah, I know, but it's about in Alaska. I know that.
Yes.
Yeah, but still, if you change that, then it's only translation. It only gives you a fact that the definition of the timing is changing, but the effect of crescent visibility and then the visibility status of the crescent is still the same. The only change is just the definition of the time. I hope it answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay.
So thanks so much, Brother Fandi, for these questions. So, and we also have another question from Saptawati from Indonesia, I think. So her questions is in the chat box, so he didn't raise her hand directly. So I will read her questions in the chat box. Her question is, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Professor Tono. What is your suggestions to educate Muslim, especially in Indonesia, to make better understanding, to have better understanding about this concept and this scientific data about a global Islamic calendar?
Well, the key point is education. Key point is education. Organize as many discussion groups and disseminations of the because people might not be able to understand fully what is actually the crescent and how its visibility and invisibility status. They just think that the altitude of the hilal is the only parameter to say that a crescent is bigger than okay, the higher they think that the higher altitude of the crescent is the more reliable to state that the crescent is bigger, but it's not actually. Even the altitude is negative, the crescent could be a lot larger. That's the problem. So I believe altitude is wrong, is a wrong parameter to say that okay, this one is a good criteria for to say that okay, we have to enter the month of Islamic month, because the crescent, although its altitude is negative, but it can be a lot larger than the positive altitude. That's why actually we have to use parameter, what to call it, crescent width, which is the percentage of the hilal which is illuminated, the percentage of the lunar illuminated by the sun, not the altitude. Altitude is wrong parameter. That's why we have a problem like this. You know, how can you, someone in Jakarta or in Tokyo have to perform all the worship during Zulhijjah behind like 9, some of them are 9 hours behind, 12 hours, even 14 hours behind people in the West. This is ridiculous, you know. But it only happens during Zulhijjah. Once we come to Muharram, for example, then we go back. We get we regain, people in Tokyo, Muslim in Tokyo, in Jakarta, regain the correct status as we Salah Fajr. We pray, we perform Fajr prayer 12 hours before people in the States, always, because we are in the East. I have son who lives in Seattle, for about 22 years. Never in my life, say I call him, for example, a month, once in a month. Never happened in my life for 22 years when I called him on Saturday, for example, then my son said, it's already Sunday in here. It's just impossible, you know. But in Hijri calendar, it could be like that. During this month, Hijri month, if we follow the Mabim's criteria, then when I called my son, then we have already Idul Adha, and we are going to have Idul Adha by maybe 12 hours later, 12 hours behind in the United States. This is peculiar, you know. It's strange. It's a mistake. It's a blunder. It's a completely blunder. It's a complete blunder.
Thank you, Professor Tono, for this answer. But we need again to socialize and to educate many of us. If it is not today, maybe hopefully the next generations, that the new generation can become the policymaker. Hopefully we will have the unified global calendar. And so we have another question from Brother Ehsan Nur. It is actually a hard question. Maybe Brother Ehsan could speak directly for this question.
Okay, thank you, Brother Fahmi. For Mabim's concept, I heard that we use the criteria of the position of the moon is 3 degrees, but can we summarize that Mabim concept is not Sunnah, because the Sunnah is to see the moon, meaning that we can see the moon during when we investigate or we during the what we call that 29 of the month. Because if some area can see the moon, but the position of the moon in Indonesia, for example, is still less than 3 degrees. So can we summarize that not meet the criteria of Mabim concept? So this decision is not new moon. Is it correct, Prof?
Let me just say like this. For example, in Quran, I have tried to research, do research, actually back in 2007 or something. Say it like this. Alam taro kaifa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Don't you know Muhammad? Don't you know Muhammad? How your God treated the army of in the elephant army. The elephant army that alam taro. Taro in this case is you know or you see. Can you see Muhammad? Don't you see Muhammad? Alam taro. This ayah was sent down to Muhammad when Muhammad was maybe 50 years old. But it tells about the year when Muhammad was born. Okay? Don't you see Muhammad when you are born? When you're born, how your God treated the army elephant, the army with elephant sword. Okay. So in this case, taro it should not mean you see, but you should mean you understand. Don't you understand? You cannot say Muhammad, can you see? Of course, Muhammad didn't see it because it is about 50 years ago, and Muhammad is already 50 years old now. Okay, and this ro'a, the basic ro'a, the basic word ro'a, when I collect everything in the Quran, 75% means understand. Only 25% see. Only 25% see. Okay. Idza jaa nasrullahi wal fath wa ra'aitan nasa yadkhulun. When the help from Allah comes, people in flock enter to your deen, idza jaa nasrullahi wal fath wa ra'aitan nasa yadkhuluna fi dinillah, in the deen of Allah enter. But in this case, waru'aitan nasa, and people you see you see people enter into the deen of Allah, but you don't have to see. If you are blind, you can see, you can hear, you can understand. If you are blind, you can hear. Okay, people are flocking, entering you can hear from anyone. You don't have to see. That's why 70%, 75% ro'a, the word ro'a means to understand. Only 25% is to see. Means to see. That's why when in hadith sumu li ru'yatihi, fast when you see crescent. It's not always. It doesn't mean you see physically. If you can calculate accurately, then it's entering. Hilal is bigger. Then everything is there. Computer software is everywhere, freely available, and you can calculate. So you don't have to see the hilal. You don't have to see crescent. If you really have to see crescent, then develop technology. It is already there. I mean, German astronomers and German and French astronomers have been able to see hilal, to see crescent during the daytime. just minutes, just seconds after conjunction during the day. During the day, they can take the picture of crescent, very thin crescent. It broke the record, world record. So why don't you? Why doesn't Mabim develop that technology to see the crescent? To see the crescent by using technology, if really they have to see the crescent. But if you just deny the fact that although it's already bigger because you cannot see, then you say, oh, this is not the crescent because you cannot see. This is terrible, you know. This is just a complete blunder, I believe. Because modern technology should be able to detect there is a crescent in there, although you cannot see it. You cannot see your eyes, your own eyes. If you are, so you have to use technology, use mirror to see your eyes, to see your ears, right? Using technology. Why should you say, I don't believe that I have eyes. I don't believe I don't have ears because I cannot see it. This is terrible, you know. This is technology, man. It's about technology. It's a matter of technology. So, you know, if you cannot see it, use technology. Use mirror to see your eyes, your own eyes. Use technology to see your ears, right? So if you want to see crescent, you have to prove that crescent is already there during the day. Use technology. German and French astronomers have been able to do that. So Mabim should be able to do that, of course, if he will. Okay, if they wish. The only thing is that because you are just, what you can say is just deny. If you cannot see, just deny it. There's no hilal. Say if on the 20th of July, on the 30th of June, because okay, you deny 29th of June is the crescent is there, okay? Then you believe only on the 30th, only on the 30th of June. Okay, this is the hilal. Do you think that hilal is just suddenly pops up from the sky? No, of course not. During the day, from morning to evening, morning to sunset, crescent is there. The crescent is there from morning to sunset, until sunset. Of course, you cannot see it. Use technology to see it. If you just say that during the sunset of 30th, oh, this is the crescent. This is the valid crescent. Then you think that the crescent is pops up immediately, suddenly from the sky. This is not logic, you know. This is just terrible. Terrible. So I believe it's a blunder, scientific blunder, completely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Professor. I think it's very clear that it's the meaning of the sea. Okay, thank you. I think it's quite clear about this, and good news that you mentioned that Germany already can see the new moon in the.
Yes.
I think it's a great news. I think. Thank you, Prof.
Yes, it was back in 2010. So about 12 years ago. So if Mabims really have to see the crescent during the day, so why didn't they for 12 years, they just do nothing? They just do nothing. It's terrible.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you,
thank
Prof.
you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Tono, and also Brother Ihsan. Regarding this question, that we understand that Ru'yatul Hilal means not seeing the moon, but understanding the moon. Yeah.
Yes.
In Arabic language, also in Quran. say that ru'ya, the basic word of ro'a means seeing with our brain, not only by our eyes. So this also could mean
seeing
that
by knowledge.
By knowledge, yes.
By knowledge, yes.
So Ru'yatul Hilal means to see the hilal not only by eyes but also by knowledge, understanding it.
Yes.
And
Yes,
it makes the big
brother.
difference regarding the how we should do regarding the determining the first month or the first date of the Islamic months. Okay, we have another questions from Ariane, and it's also a bit complicated questions. He already write it in the chat, but if Aaron could ask the question directly, you can unmute your mic and ask the questions to Professor. So Ariane. Okay, maybe he is.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, please have.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, I got really clear knowledge about the Ru'yatul Hilal globally. So if we Muslim all over the world will follow that this explanation, so we can be united. But the problem is that the Muslim follow their ulamas, which has different in their decision to see the moon or not to see the moon in their area, like already explained before. So that's why we cannot be united. So is there any suggestion in this case? So to be, yeah, to make the Muslim look at this global Ru'yatul Hilal. Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe I have already said it. Education and discussion. Meet each other, discuss things, and the most other important things is actually the government as the ruler, as the administrator, as the authority should be independent. And they are not able to, they are not allowed to take all the functions in the society. Like the government is the authority, design the rule, but don't act at the same time as an operator, because there is a conflict of interest in there. Don't take part as a judge. If there is a dispute, then let's judge. Take this role, not just the government. So in this case, government take the whole parts as a ruler, and then administrator, as an operator, and as a judge. Those three functions are taken by the government uncontrollably. No one is able to control government. This is ridiculous. This happens in Indonesia, of course. I don't know if it happens already in other countries. In Japan, for example, I don't believe that the Japanese government is taking part in this type of thing, right? Yeah, let the society discuss and meet each other to discuss things, to discuss everything, to what you call it, to come to a conclusion. That, let's say their discussion is open and freely open for the society to consider, whether or not it's what you call it, is their consideration is logic or illogical, illogical. So I believe it's a matter of education and socialization and dissemination. That is the key point.
Okay, thank you, Professor Tono, for this
Can I
answer.
ask something else?
Okay, you can follow it. You can follow up your question. Yeah.
So based on your information, we need the government which can be as a unifying the Muslims. Based on the history, that's happened when the Khilafah still there. So it's the Khalifah who can unite all these disputes. So do you think that we need at this moment we also need this kind of government which can, like in the what do you call it, the great history of Muslim civilization. So we have this Khilafah, Caliphate, which can unite all the Muslims and make the Muslims become prosperous. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
It's not necessarily in the sense that political unification. Like the Congress in Istanbul in 2016 was attended by 127 delegates from 127 countries, and they have agreed. 80% of 80 delegates have agreed to adopt global Islamic calendar as the basis of the
Islamic months.
Yeah, of the calendar, the Muslim calendar. So I mean, you don't have to go by too far by unifying what to call it, political affiliation. But the expert meeting in Istanbul, for example, in 2016, was attended by experts from all over the world. They are expert in Sharia, they are expert in astronomy, they are expert in mathematics, they are expert in all kind of scientific branch, and they agreed. They have already agreed 80. I mean, by nomination, they have already agreed to adopt the global Islamic calendar. So the problem is, why should now Japanese Muslim deny global Islamic calendar? Indonesian government also doesn't, deny to adopt Islamic calendar. Malaysia, Singapore, it's you are go back to the square one, and then discussion again, and then we have one day we have concluded that okay, this is the decision, then be again denied the whole thing. It's just terrible. So actually, you don't have to go by political stance. You have already agreed, and it has been already agreed in Istanbul in 2016 that it doesn't have to be a khilafah in terms of political stance, but it's already agreed by experts in Sharia, in astronomy, in physics, and all these things.
So thank you so much, Professor Tono, for this explanation. Yeah. Maybe Sister Arian, maybe you need also another follow-up for this question, or is it okay?
I think that's all right. Yeah, thank you for
Okay.
explanation. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, so that's why we in Japan we have this kind of community, global Islamic calendar, because in Japan we don't have kings that determine when the Islamic month starts. So we just follow the global Islamic calendar, as Professor Tono already declared that this global Islamic calendar is approved by the Jumhur Ulama, the majority of ulama, so it's really legitimate for us to follow this global Islamic calendar. Yes. So we have another question actually from Ahmad Al-Minawi. Maybe you can unmute your question and unmute your mic and answer the question. You ask your question directly to Professor. Brother Ahmad. Okay, so maybe I just read his question from the chat box. His question is, we can use CCD cams and filters. We can do many things that easily to see the moon, maybe even in morning, but we are told that it is not acceptable. So this is his question from Brother Ahmad from Egypt. How do you comment this? How do you comment with this statement or question from him?
Yeah, this what I said, that it is strange that all of a sudden during the month of Zulhijjah, Muslims in Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan have to perform all their worships certain hours behind people in America. In the meantime, during maybe years or at least months, they have worshipped hours before people in the United States. How can you say that? Okay, I told you that I have a son living in Seattle for about 22 years. Every month I called him. When I called during, I called him close to Isha in Indonesia. Say today is Saturday, right? Sunday.
Sunday now.
Sunday. This evening I'm calling him Sunday, and my son said, "Wait, Dad, for a few minutes because I have to pray Fajr." That is on Sunday. How can he say, "Look, Dad, I have to pray Fajr because today is already 4th July. In the meantime, in Jakarta is only July 3rd. How can? No way. No way. But in Hijri calendar, you can do that. All of a sudden, you people in America, they have already slaughtered the
Kurban.
And we slaughter Kurban 12 hours behind them. How come?
Okay.
How come? This is just strange. You tell me, is it because of the Sunnah? No, because you misunderstand it. Because you misunderstand it, that the Christian, you should be able to see Christian during the sunset. And I told you that during the day, I mean, invisible sunset, invisible Christian, it could be much, much larger than what is visible. Could be much larger than visible. I've already given you the case. So if you say that this is not Sunnah, okay, do you think that Rasul really taught us to mix up all this type of thing? I don't think, it's impossible. Do you think Rasul wants us to, people in Japan, performing Fajr prayer, Duhur prayer, and all the prayers during the day, during the month of Zulhijjah, behind people in America? No. In Japan, because it's eastern part of located in eastern part of the globe, they should pray ahead of people in the States. But during this Hijri calendar, during the Zulhijah, this will happen. Imagine if this is Ramadan, people already perform Tarawih in America. We are just starting our fast right now today because we are behind them. It's terrible. We should be 12 hours ahead of people in the States. But during this Zulhijjah, we are behind people in America. That's strange. That's peculiar. That's mistakes. Definitely, scientifically. But I told you that, I'm not expert in Sharia. If you think the Sharia principle is correct, that you sometimes have to be behind people in America, sometimes, most of the time, you are ahead of people in America. But one time during this Zulhijjah, you are able to pray behind people in America. That's fine. That's your belief. That's your. But I believe, from scientific point of view, that is wrong, because we should be ahead of people in America, because we are living in eastern part of the globe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Tono, for this answer. And I think Brother Ahmed also already confirmed that he also understood about the answer and satisfied by the answer of the Prof. Tono previously. So we have almost to the end of the event, but we still have one question. Maybe this is the last question. So Dwini, you can unmute your mic and then ask the question to Professor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, brother. And thank you, Professor Tono. This is Dwi. Yes, I understand. And just to clarify, I live in New York, and right now is almost 11 p.m. on Saturday. And I believe in Indonesia right now is 10 a.m. Sunday.
Yes.
Okay, but we will have the Eid Adha prayer on the 9th of July. So you will be have in the 10th of July. So I just want to clarify that that is that's happened. So thank you, Prof. Tono. And then
thank you very much,
I would like to just to clarify again, as Brother Afandi asking you, about the deadline. So based on your presentation, basically we do not need to change in terms of the deadline and the Greenwich Mean Time, because that is only translate in terms of the time. So we still keep using this as already approved by government all over the world, and consensus, basically the consensus that deadline and also the starting is a Greenwich Mean Time. Okay, and I would like to suggest also in your conclusion, you do not mention about your criteria. So I think it is better, what is your criteria in terms of the Christian? So I think it's better is the percentage of the illumination or something like that. You should mention it in the conclusion, because even though you already mentioned a couple of times on your talk, but you do not put in there, what is the MABIM criterion and then your criterion. So it's in the conclusion, it will be very helpful for the people to grab it. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. Very good, Professor.
Yes, thank you for confirmation that you are still about 3 o'clock, is it? 11 o'clock.
No,
11
it's right now it's 11 p.m. Saturday.
11 p.m. Saturday.
And you are
now,
at 10 a.m. Sunday.
Yes, yes, exactly. So how can in Hijri calendar, you are now 2nd of Hijri, and in there already 3rd of Hijri. Oh, that's just terrible. That's terrible mistake, I believe. So it's the Islamic calendar. Yes, I believe that I didn't put it in the conclusion, but yes, I believe it's correct that we have. What I suggest is actually we adopt global Islamic calendar, agreed in Hijri Calendar Unification Congress in Istanbul in 2016, with the criteria of 5 degrees altitude, 8 degrees elongation, but it can happen everywhere in the world, everywhere in the globe. That is actually the criteria of the global Islamic calendar. So I didn't emphasize it in the conclusion, but it's already mentioned in the early portion of my presentation actually. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, that's Brother Dewini. Maybe we can revert back to the criteria of the global Islamic calendar determined by in Istanbul. Maybe it's already publicly available. We can refer to that information to know the criterion held by our Professor Tono Saksono regarding this topic. So it's already it's already the end of time for our webinar. So I would like to ask Professor Tono to give like closing statement regarding of this lecture that you gave and shared to us.
Yeah, I believe we have to move together to campaign that people, a Muslim in the world should as soon as possible adopt the global Islamic calendar that has been agreed upon in the Congress of in Istanbul in 2016. Then we will be able to have the fixed Islamic calendar, and we can prepare the calendar for 100 years to come. No dispute, no no dispute, no hesitation, and it's already fixed for 100 years to come, even 200 years to come. It's already there. Then everyone should be able to what you call it, like I've told you that I have written a research report in 2014, because we don't have Islamic calendar. Then all businesses in the world, Muslim world, is using Gregorian calendar, which has 360 days in a year. If you are using that accounting system, then the 11 days difference from the Hijri calendar is not, the zakat for 11 days is not paid. That's a problem. If that one is accumulated, that one is accumulating to for 1400 years, then it's becoming Muslim civilized debt, which now I estimated have accumulated to the tune of $10 trillion. $10 trillion. That's written it's written in my book. $10 trillion. You can compare that all the Muslim world, the debt of all Muslim world to IMF, to World Bank, and to these international donors is only $1 trillion. Now the debt of zakat is $10 trillion, 10 times even larger. So if we don't have the Islamic calendar now, then that civilization debt is keeps accumulating larger and larger and larger. So this is just terrible. So we have to stop this one and campaign together that Muslims all over the world should adopt global Islamic calendar in order to unify all the Islamic calendar in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Tono, for this statement, and also previously the shared lecture regarding the principle of global Islamic calendar. So hopefully all of us.
Okay, many people ask me about my contact. You can go to YouTube. We have produced like almost 100 videos in YouTube, available in YouTube, and my contact should be there. So you know, if you need, or you can contact GICC.
Yes. So yeah, that's true. Regarding all the ideas or maybe even though the shareable contents, anything, you can contact us, GICC, for further requests. And also regarding of the audience, please, if you would like to have the certificate from this webinar, you can just click the link and then put your data there, and we will give you the certificates. And just anything, like if you would like to have much more contents, we will give you the shareable one. Yeah, as our resource persons, which content is allowed to be shared to you. And also regarding the publicly available contents from Prof. Tono, you can go to his YouTube to get more understanding. And also don't forget to have the ebook or the book like Premature Dawn, written by Prof. Tono and his co-author. And actually it's freely available in Amazon. So it's a good knowledge, and you can download it. If you have Kindle, you can download it for free. And it's a very beautiful and important knowledge. And Alhamdulillah, we are now at the end of the event. And hopefully all of us can learn many things, which is, I think this kind of knowledge is very important for us. And also I would like to thank again everyone who joined this webinar. And I would like to thank Prof. Tono and all of the audience.
Thank you.
To have this kind of lecture and knowledge shared today. And for the closing of this event today, let's us recite Surah Al-Asr together. A'udhu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asri innal insana lafi khusrin illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus solihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Walhamdulillah, sadaqallahu azim, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baru sempat masuk, minta maaf lambat.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay.
Main. Insya Allah nanti di-share.
Okay.
Silakan.
So from
terima kasih, nanti saya bersama
Ya, insyaallah.
Terima kasih.
Next time insyaallah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.